In this video we're going to take a look at how we can include a countdown timer into a Microsoft form. Once the timer has finished counting down, the form becomes no longer editable and it will then auto-submit itself. So let's get started. I've got a quiz that's already been created. I need to go over to the More Settings ellipses on the top right hand side of the page. Select that and then choose Settings. The settings window opens and I can scroll down and come to the options for responses. As this quiz is not going to be set as part of an assignment, I'm going to use the start date and the end date functions. So today's date, and I'm going to give it a time to get started, and I want my students to have a week to do this work in. I'm now going to set the time duration. So I need to check the box and then I can set how many minutes I want the quiz to remain open for. In this case, I'm going to give my students 10 minutes. And then I'm just going to set it just for one response per person. So my students only get one try at this, and click the ellipses and that will then close that down. And now that we've set the time, that is now displayed at the top of the page here. I can now go on to set up the collect responses, who's actually going to be able to do the quiz. I can create the URL and copy that, and I can now post that into my general channel within my class team. So I've now posted the quiz into my general channel on Teams, and that's now waiting for my students to have a go. So let's go over to the student view. So I'm now in the student view, and as a student I can then open the link and I get an introductory page. So it tells me that it's a timed form. In this case I've got 10 minutes, and it gives me some instructions around saying that once I start I can't pause the timer, and also that forms will also give the student a final minute reminder before submissions. So the student can now either come away from it and prepare themselves for the quiz, or they can click start and go straight in. So as soon as they've opened the quiz, the countdown timer is displayed at the top. By clicking the up arrow here, they can close down the countdown bar here so they can just see the numbers going, and the student can now proceed to complete the quiz. So the student has now completed the quiz and they can then click submit. The student gets a completion message, and the student then also gets the option to view the results that they can in any form. The student will then get the points total and also the time that it took for them to complete the form, in this case 2 minutes 33 seconds. Let's go back to the teacher view. So now that I'm back in the teacher view, the teacher can then open up Microsoft Forms, and as we can see we've had one response, and from here I can review the answers. And this was Susan who completed the work, and as you can see it took Susan 2 minutes 33 seconds and she got 6 out of 8. So now let's see what happens when a student is in the form and the countdown timer expires. I'm back in the student view, and Microsoft Forms has now given me the warning message that my timer is nearly up. The student is still yet to complete the form. And the form has now been auto-completed. The student still gets the completed message and they can still view their results as well. And my student in this case got 3 out of 8 and exceeded the time limit available. So let's go back to the teacher view. So I'm now back in teacher view and I can open up the quiz. I've got my one response. I can open that up. I can review my answer, and there's Susan's answers. 3 out of 8, and as we can see there, she exceeded the allotted time. So let's take a quick look at the unanswered questions. and Microsoft Forms grades these as incorrect, despite the fact it was out of time. Using a timer is a really good way of being able to make students think on their feet, also for you as a teacher to be able to gauge the understanding of a topic within a particular class. Please scan the codes to access further training resources and links into our Cloud Design Box social media sites.